in! It's lovely to be here tonight. Thanks for coming out. I'll just be frank with you, I'm feeling a bit sad tonight though. Yeah, I just ended a 5-year relationship. Wasn't mine, but never nice. So where do I start then? What can I tell you about me? Let's get straight to it. I left home at 12. So I've been here since about 1:30. I got 2 brothers, one older, one younger. 2 of us are married, the other one's not. People find it strange that I married my brother, but yeah. We're a lot in common. No, my wife is in the audience tonight, so I haven't actually met her yet. You know when you just get a feeling. Maybe. You never know. Never know, do you? No, I am married though. I took my ring off for the sake of that guy, yeah. I hope it's worth it. I take my ring off for 2 reasons. One is to do jokes, like that one. And the other is to cheat. I want to get home and play this game. Joke or cheat. Keeps her on her toes. I actually think my wife might be cheating on me. Yeah, I came home from work the other day, early. I noticed a pair of jeans on the bed that didn't belong to me. And inside those jeans was a man. Suspicious. It's not the first time something like this has happened. On a separate occasion, I came home early from work and I noticed my wife lying on the bed. And inside my wife was a man. Very suspicious. Something's going on there. Genuinely though, I don't think my wife is quite over her ex, because a while back I found a dick pic he'd sent her. Yeah. Now I normally wouldn't be bothered by that kind of thing, but it was in a frame on the wall. And I knew it was his because she's got a sculpture of it in the garden. I'm not saying it. But it's important to get over your ex, isn't it? I realised I wasn't quite over my ex. So for closure, I actually went to my ex's house and saw her and her new guy and had a glass of wine and even held their new baby. And then just before I left, I gave her a kiss on the cheek, goodbye, and even shook the guy's hand, you know. Which was all quite hard to do, really, without waking either of them up. By now, some of you are probably thinking, I recognise his voice, but I've never seen his face before. And that, of course, is the beauty of glory holes. It's all coming back to you now, sir. Double, double. Thanks for coming. Now I got a bit bored on the train down here tonight, so I started writing a little list. Little list of things you can do when you're on the toilet. You know, just keep these in mind next time you're there. Things you can do when you're on the toilet. Number 1. Number 2. It's been a tough year for me. A few weeks back, I failed my driving test. Yeah, I got 23 minors and 1 major for going down a mine. I also had 5 cameras up my arse this year. Yeah, you laugh. All 5 doctors have said the same thing. Stop putting cameras up your ass. And recently I discovered my younger brother's been dealing cocaine. Haven't slept since. But drugs are no laughing matter, are they? I had a problem. I was addicted to Viagra. And let me tell you, that gets harder every day. Thank you. But I'm over that now, touch wood. My wife has a strange addiction. She's addicted to shower gel. Good news is she's been clean for 5 years now. I got the tube here tonight. Anyone hate the tube like I do? Yeah. There's a million things to hate about the tube, but I think the thing I hate the most is people that give their seat up to pregnant women and old people. It's not the act of doing it. That's an honourable, nice thing to do. I'm talking about the smug face they do for the next 3 stops. You know the one. Yeah. No, it's fine, honestly. Yeah. I was only going 52 stops. Some people are quite good at hiding the smugness, they'll almost appear humble. But you keep your eye on them long enough, bit of smug will pop out. They'll be there desperately holding it in. Just keep your eye on them. Keep your eye on them. A bit of smug will pop out in the end. Now don't get me wrong, I'll give my seat up to anyone that looks over 70. Anyone, but as soon as you ask for ID, suddenly you're a bad guy. No, I could never get a seat on the train, never used to get a seat, and it didn't matter what time I left the house, just couldn't get that seat, and it got really annoying, so I actually looked into buying a house in Epping, which is at the start of the Central Line, to guarantee that seat, but of course I couldn't afford a house in Epping. But what I could afford was a Labrador and a stick. Never had any problems since. But I'm still waiting to come across the ultimate give your seat up on the train end boss. When you're sitting there and on walks a 90-year-old pregnant woman with a Labrador. And the Labrador is also blind. That's when everyone just jumps off the train. Now, what else can I tell you about me? It's a big day for me today. Today marks 500 days without drink and drugs. Thank you. Admittedly, those days weren't in a row. Doesn't matter, does it? I'd like to help out in retirement homes. No real reason, just nice to see some old faces. School was difficult for me. I was chucked out of 3 schools for exactly the same reason. Apparently I was 38. That's a joke. Because you gotta be careful, haven't you? Especially as a guy, you gotta be careful because Guys these days, we can't even sit in the park watching kids play without someone taking your binoculars, you know? Talking of school, I recently bumped into the woman who taught me how to count. Yeah, she said, "What are you up to?" I did that joke once and someone came up to me after the show and said, "I thought that was a bit immature." I was like, "Immature, mate? I don't need that. I'm 41 and a half, for fuck's sake." It's amazing how life pans out not quite how you expect it, isn't it? You know, we all had dreams when we were a kid. I dreamed I was going to be an astronaut and retired by 40. And this morning I had a wank to a GIF. I didn't even get to the end. But I'm at that age now where I go to the barbers and they ask what I want. I just said, more. But I do find at this sort of age you become a bit repulsive to younger women. You know, it's not a nice feeling. Like, even this morning at work, I just popped my head into a young lady. I was like, "Morning." And she just slammed the cubicle door on me. Thank you. But yeah, I'm getting on. I thought it'd be good to start, thinking about what I want to do in my later years. So I started writing a list of things I want to do by the time I'm 50. So here we go. Things I want to do by the time I'm 50. Bungee jump. That'd be cool, right? Good fun. Skydive. Yeah. My wife's sister. All three come at the risk of death. No, I love my wife. I was actually out with my wife recently, and get this, she was wolf whistled. Wolf whistled. I was like, I'm not having that. I went over to the guy. I confronted the guy. I was like, mate, that is not on. Come on. Maybe 20 years ago that was acceptable. And she's really let herself go since then. But it's important to keep my poor wife. But it's important to keep your marriage fresh and work on it, especially in the bedroom. It was actually my wife who suggested role play. Yeah. She wanted to be a lonely, desperate housewife. And she wanted me to dress up as our next door neighbor, Chris. Very fun, right? So my wife and I, we have 2 beautiful children and another child. They're 9, 8 and 2. That's not their ages, that's their rating out of 10. The youngest one, very stubborn, very hard to get him to do anything. Even the simplest things like washing your hands after you have a wee, just will not do. Even we've tried using the old rhymes we learnt when we were a kid, to help them through it, but they're just not working. Like you touch it, you got to wash it, no spray, no lay, no splash, no gash, no amani, no punani. By the time you finish explaining what a punani is, they're late for school again and you're back to square one. One thing about having kids that we found quite difficult is coming up with a name for your kids. That's a tough thing to do. It's a big assignment. That's the kid's name for the rest of his life. We eventually got there, but we got friends in the same situation. They got a kid that's now 30 days old, still haven't come up with a name. Apparently, you only have 42 days. That's the law. But what happens after 42 days? Is that how you get Garys? Government come round, time's up, it's a Gary. It's a Gary. well, she'll struggle here, won't she? Now, one thing you worry about as soon as you have a kid is money, right? Anyone who has kids here, you understand that. You worry about money, you worry about their financial future. You know, so I started putting £50 away here, £50 away there. So by the time they're 18, they'll have £100. Don't get me wrong, I love being a dad, it's fantastic, even the tough times, you know, when you're exhausted and you're singing them to sleep and you've been there for an hour and they just will not settle down. You know, that's the hour mark where you start running out of the classic bedtime songs. You start drifting into different genres and you're there and you find yourself like, got 21 seconds to sleep. Got 21 seconds. Can you hear the justice sing? Washing machines no longer gather. Quick question for you guys. Where do you stand when it comes to smacking kids? I'm only about here. You know? Enough room for a good wind up. Not too close to leave a mark. You've got to be sensible, haven't you? No, I never smacked my kids, although my mum smacked me, and I've got no issues with that bitch. But I do feel sorry for this generation that don't get smacked, you know, because that's when you learn to body pop, isn't it? You know what I mean? Mum comes in, oh. Dad comes in from the other side, whoa! Well, if you didn't eat your dinner, you were popping and locking on that, man. Mum was actually going to come tonight, but came up with a couple of last minute excuses, like the trains, you know, you're not funny, that kind of stuff. But it's a big deal for my mum to come out the house, so I let her off, because my mum's actually agoraphobic, so she's scared of leaving the house. So, you know, you can't blame her. Actually, a few weeks back, I sat her down and said, Mum, what is it that you're exactly, you know, afraid of? And she said to me, son, that's not fair enough. My mum's wonderful. She always has been a wonderful woman, my mum, and I have these wonderful fond memories of her by the bed just singing me to sleep, you know, reading lovely stories and stroking my hair. And it's just that unconditional love that only a mum can give. And it used to drive my wife nuts because she had work in the morning. My dad, on the other hand, different kettle of fish, very, very strict man. You know, he caught me drinking a little swig of my mum's white wine when I was about 12, 13, and he made me neck the whole bar. It was horrific. And then a couple of years later, he caught me smoking a fag at the bottom of the garden and made me finish the whole bloody pack in front of him. And then he caught me wanking. And he asked me to stop. Which is ironic coming from him because he was such a wanker, he pretty much raised me single-handed. But my dad, he's had some serious health issues, he's had a lot of problems, and about 12 years ago he had prostate cancer, true story. And he sat me down and he explained what it meant, and then he said, I'm having this operation, and he said, it means me and your mum can't have sex anymore. And I was like, is there any downsides? I don't know how he expected me to react. Fuck! No! Nothing? Oh! You can do other stuff? Oh man, no way! Luckily, I never actually caught my mum and dad having sex, but there was a couple of close shaves, you know. I caught them doing the 69. Yeah, Mum tried to talk her way out of it, but I couldn't understand the words she said. Mum actually, she called me today with some sad news. She said the family dog had died. Aww. Yeah, she said he's in heaven now with your nanny and granddad, and horrible way to find out your grandparents are dead. I was actually there when my other granddad died. Just wish I hadn't reversed into it. But it's amazing what you can find out about your family, isn't it? I discovered that my I went on findyourancestors.com, and I discovered my great granddad had a stutter just like me. Who knew, huh? But talking to the family, this morning I actually went to visit my mother-in-law's grave, and so sad, still empty. We're running out of time, so.
You got time for 5 more jokes. Let's do that.
All right. I'll just well, since we moved on to the topic of death, I'll just tell you, my mum, she raised me quite religiously. You know, she took me to church, and I grew up thinking Jesus was the best. You know, and then I got a bit older, you start questioning the religion. You start looking at the Bible and thinking about the miracles in the Bible and thinking, hang on, some of them weren't for the benefit of anyone. You know, like walking on water. Who was that for? Just giving it the big one. How am I doing that? What the fuck? That's mental. That feet aren't even wet. She is, love. But did they start to think, what was Jesus' persona when he was doing these miracles? Was he humble as we always presumed he was? Or was he a bit more cocky about it? You know, like, boy, mate. You know you're blind in that. What about now? See you later. They're working now, yeah? What about, yeah? Check them out then. See you later. What's that? Lazarus is dead. You want to double check? See you later. Yeah, tell Lazarus that's on me. Alright, fella, you're right down there. You got enough bread? What about now? See you later, fella. That should be enough, shouldn't it? I love the thought that when we die, we realise that God was just a cocky twat. You get up to heaven, he's there leaning on the pearly gates, like, not tonight, mate. One in, one out. Nah, mate, fucking with me. Oh, shouldn't swear. I'll get in trouble. Or will I? I'm the boss around here. Come through. Mind all the bread. Just been practicing a miracle. This is my dad, but he's also me. You'll get used to it. Keep coming through. Mind the paddling pool. I don't have to. What? What am I doing? I'm like fucking dynamo. Whoa. Anyway, heaven's through there. Just keep the noise down, will you? For Christ's sake. Have to do it. Now, I'll just end with this. I said my dad was very strict growing up. And he was. But he came to my first stand-up show. Just before I went on, he walked up to me, handed me this note. And I've always kept it with me since. And I'll just read it to you now. I don't want to get emotional, but... Bear with me. Can't even open an envelope. He said, son, People will tell you that you're not good enough. That you should give up. Regards, Dad. You've been lovely. Thank you so much for coming out. Love you all.